And there's 2 more books afterwards. Red, Green, and Blue, yes. It's kind of about the hopefulness of it. And it's also about how the people who wanted to preserve and conserve the planet were basically steamrolled, which is exactly what's going to happen to you, my friend. I'm so sorry. Moral. That's what's going to happen to your morals. And rolled. Yeah, you're going to get rolled. But we're not saying that's right. I'm a red myself, you know. I'm really sad that they're turning Mars into a shopping mall. But I think that feeling is going to be forgotten very soon. But Anne's gonna like blow up a few mining trucks along the way. We have no real need to rush to space currently, yeah. We don't deserve space, honestly. It's just gonna become a way to, like, line the pockets of billionaires. Which means we're probably going sooner. We're probably going ASAP. But, you know, right on, brother. Right on. What's that quote in my channel? There's a quote, I don't know what number it is, but it's like, if there's no gay and there's no communism, should we even really be in space? Gay space communism. It's kind of an old meme now. That's sad. We'll mine an asteroid so someone can be the first trillionaire. Exactly. It's gonna be the most annoying man on Earth. Lurch Nest, you legend. Quote 323. If there's no gay and there's no communism, should we even be in space? Larrybug 2020. I approve this message. At least Mars isn't, like, worth the trouble as it is. Like, we're probably just gonna blow up a bunch of asteroids and unleash an alien virus that wipes us out before we have the chance to do anything with it. But yeah, mining asteroids will be a lot easier than strip mining Mars. So, you know, we're probably not gonna get any cities or activities on Mars. Mars will just be like a museum. That's pretty cool. Or, like, it'll be like a solar park, you know, like state, like a federal or like a state park or like a national park, but it's like it's like a solar park, except only rich people can go, and also nobody would, but you know what I mean. It'll be like a museum for rocks. The only person who's gonna get us to Mars is Elon Musk because he's so obsessed with it. He wants to make out with Mars. And I hate the man, but you know, he's got his passions. Right on, dude. Couldn't have said it better myself. The man, oh god. Okay, never mind. It sucks that we can't even talk about Mars without, like, bringing up Musk. He's ruining all my favorite things. And now I need another drink. And we'll get started with the book. He ruined Twitter. Like he brought a new definition to the word ruined. Like, I've never seen something so thoroughly decimated. But you know, it's all perspective. Bots love this one trick. Destroyed it, dude. Just the worst people you've ever seen, and like people who aren't even real. And they're all like shaking hands, like that scene in Rick and Morty with all the Jerrys. And they're like, good job, Jerry. Okay, Tokyo Twilight, I literally don't care if you disagree with me because you are wrong. And I don't have time. Loser. Twitter was only good due to the text limit. You know, that's a valid point in there. Dude, it fucking sucks. Like, he's like, free speech. And then he's like, also, it's free, but you have to pay for it. It's free speech that you pay for, and some speech is more equal than others. He's full of shit. He's stinky. Because he's full of shit. Stinks. Smells like poop. I'll be right back. Okay, so, Detective John Boone, first man on Mars and first detective on Mars, is still on the case. I almost ripped the book, oh my god. Still on the case. He's trying to find out who's sabotaging Mars and the totally righteous development of Mars. He's like, why can't we all get along? And he doesn't really question his friends, and he thinks that everybody is his friend. And he doesn't really care about who's funding his friends, and he's like, we can compromise. There is a middle ground for he's a beautiful centrist, and he's also a celebrity. You didn't even read it, did you? Ah, welcome. Is this your first time here? Shut up and sit down. I don't know why we can't all get along. And then Biden dropped out of the race. For real. And he just was investigating the Arab caravan, and he ran into Frank and Maya, and Frank was like, he'd be in his uppity self, so he's like, I'm gonna fuck Maya again, because I know you like her. So the rover was rocking, and you know, Frank just kind of has to deal with that. And John is like, man, Maya's pretty cool. I remember what I liked about her. They like, you know, they like polar opposites, but like in a sexy way. But then he starts thinking about Hiroko. I don't know, he's like, Hiroko, why? Hiroko ran off from the original colony, and she made a secret colony, so they've gone rogue, and that kind of hurts John's feelings, because, you know, John is friends with everybody, and he's like, why would my friend run away? I miss her. And he wants to talk to her, but nobody knows where she is, and her colonists. And she is apparently responsible for the stowaway. So anyways, now he's gonna move on. He didn't really find anything, so now he's gonna go. He's like, I think he's going around and he's like interviewing all the original 100. To find out, like, who has the most motive to fuck everything up. Because we're trying to industrialize Mars. Red Mars. Vlad and Ursula had relocated their biotech complex to a fin-like ridge in the Acheron Fosse, a narrow prominence which looked like the conning tower of a vast submerged submarine. Is that how you say that? Conning? Conning? It's spelled like conning. Vlad and Ursula, con like convict? Oh, okay. Vlad and Ursula had relocated their biotech complex. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to read this thing. Thank you, Purple Wayne, even though you're not here anymore because you were just in the hospital. Excuse me, I have to burp. So, we are about 49.5% of the way through Red Mars. In 2 different PDFs, easily found online, we are either on page 274 out of 544, or on page 197 of 396. Yeah. We are still in part 5, falling into history. We just finished the subsection, ending with the words, and perhaps it was perhaps it was this that made him so angry with Hiroko. He wanted to talk to her. He needed her help, and she had abandoned them. Vlad and Ursula had relocated their biotech complex to a fin-like ridge in the Acheron Fosse, a narrow prominence which looked like the conning tower of a vast submerged submarine. They had honeycombed the upper part of it with excavations that extended from cliff to cliff. Some of the rooms were a kilometer wide. We just started. But you're pretty late. You missed the summary. I give my summary this week a 7 out of 10. And you missed it. Should I start from the top again? No, I'm kidding. I just started from the top like 5 times. They had honeycombed the upper part of it with excavations that extended from cliff to cliff. Some of the rooms were a kilometer wide and glass-walled on both sides. The windows on the south side had a view of Olympus Mons, some 600 kilometers away. No, literally, we started here, and this is where you asked if you were late. I'm like a sentence in. What I'm reading right now is a description of the first sentence. The windows on the south side had a view of Olympus Mons, some 600 kilometers away. North-facing windows looked down on the pale tan sands of Arcadia Planitia. John drove up the wide ledge to the bottom of the fin and plugged into the garage door lock, noticing as he did that the ground in the narrow canyon south of the settlement was lumpy with heaps of what appeared to be melted brown sugar. It's a new type of cryptogamic crust, Vlad said when John asked about it. Cryptogamic crust. A new kind of cryptogamic crust. A symbiosis of cyanobacteria and Florida platform bacteria. The platform bacteria go very deep and convert sulfates in the rock to sulfides, which then feed a variant of Microcoleus. The top layers of that grow in filaments. Eternized Dragon, you miss. That's literally what the first half of the book is about. I mean, sort of. It's also about, like, love triangles and politics. Well, the politics of this, but the big part of this part was about how bacteria would be bad. No, I'm glad. I love that you can relate to the material, but I also didn't want you to think that the novel was like, fuck yeah, do it. This is a good thing. Because you would have loved it. You would have loved it. There was a whole argument. There was a sabotage too. So forget the terrorists. The original terrorist was the guy who released the algae. There was a guy who he hid it. He hid it and he lied about it. And then retroactively got approval from the UN. Or not the UN. The UN, the United Nations Organization of Martian Affairs. He retroactively got approval for it after he had already sabotaged the whole fucking thing. And he lied to everybody, and he got someone else to do it for him, and they didn't even know, because he did it secretly and made somebody else do his dirty work, and then it was like, too late. But also, we got approval from UNOMA now, and nobody knows. Sorry, I'm getting heated. He hid that shit. Okay, anyway, so now they're just like full steam ahead. And nobody sees anything wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. The platform bacteria go very deep and the top layers of the bacteria grow into filaments, which bind to sand and clay in big dendritic formations. So it's like little forest sylvanols with really long bacterial root systems. It looks like these root systems will keep on going right down through the regolith to the bedrock, melting the permafrost as they go. And you've released this stuff? John said. Sure, we need something to bust up the permafrost, right? Is there anything to stop it from growing planet-wide? Well, it has the usual array of suicide genes, in case it begins to overwhelm the rest of the biomass. But if it keeps to its niche... Wow. It's not too unlike the first life forms that covered the Terran continents, we think. We've just enhanced its speed of growth and its root systems. The funny thing is that I think at first it's going to cool the atmosphere, even though it's warming things underground. Because it'll really increase chemical weathering of the rock, and all those reactions absorb CO2 from the air. So the air pressure is going to drop. Maya had come up and joined them with a big hug for John. And now, she said, but won't the reactions release oxygen as fast as they absorb CO2 and keep air pressure up? Vlad shrugged. Maybe. We'll see. In all seriousness, why have our microbes not already colonized Mars? It seems like it should have occurred. Mostly because they have not evolved to survive on Mars. It's a pretty inhospitable environment. And fortunately, NASA takes great efforts to not contaminate it as much as possible. Like, they're really serious about not contaminating it. But who's to say? But there is, like, a whole effort to not contaminate it. But who knows? But it's not very hospitable to life. It's going to cool the atmosphere at first. Such a Vlad thing to say. But we might have already, who knows, I guess, for real. John Grunsfeld, NASA Science Administration Associate, in 2022 admitted in an interview that they confirmed that by accident they had carried microbes to Mars, but it's not known what happened to them then. That's exactly the story I was thinking of. Try as we might. But, yeah, anything that we send up there is going to die in hard radiation. Pretty much certainly. I don't know what would happen if there was a tardigrade aboard, but I don't think that they've snuck on. And that's despite NASA's biosafety stage 4 clean room conditions, let alone China. But then like 40 or so missions to Mars existed already. Exactly. So that doesn't mean we shouldn't try, though. I'm for letting Elon go today. But won't the reactions release oxygen as fast as they absorb CO2 and keep air pressure up? Vlad shrugged. Maybe. We'll see. John laughed. Sachs is a long-term thinker. He'll probably be pleased. Oh, yes. He authorized the release. And he's coming here to study again when spring comes. They had dinner in a hall located high on the fin, just under the crest. Skylights opened above to the greenhouse on the crest itself, and windows ran the length of the north and south walls. Stands of bamboo filled the walls to the east and west. All the residents of Acheron were there for dinner, holding to an Underhill custom, as they did in many other ways. The discussion at John and Maya's table ranged widely, but kept returning to the current work, which involved trying to solve problems caused by the need to implant safeguards in all the gems that they were releasing. Double suicide genes in every gem was a practice that the Acheron group had initiated on its own. And it was now going to be codified as UN law. That's all well and good for legal gems, Vlad said. But if some fools try something on their own and blow it, we could be in big trouble anyway. After dinner, Ursula said to John and Maya, "Since you're here, you ought to get your physicals. It's been a while for the both of you." John, who hated physicals, and indeed all medical attention of any kind, demurred. But Ursula hounded him. Eventually he gave in and visited her clinic a couple days later. There he was put through a battery of diagnostic tests that seemed even more intensive than usual. Most of them running by imaging machines and computers with too relaxing voices, telling him to move this way and then that. While John, in complete ignorance, did what he was told. Modern medicine. But after all that, he was poked and prodded and tapped in time-honored fashion by Ursula herself. And when it was over, he was lying on his back with a white sheet over him, while she stood at his side, looking at readouts and humming absent-mindedly. "You're looking good," she told him after several minutes of that. "Some of the usual gravity-related problems, but nothing we can't deal with." "Great," John said, feeling relieved. That was the thing about physicals. Any news was bad news. One wanted an absence of news. Getting that was somehow a victory, and more so every time. But still, a negative accomplishment. Nothing had happened to him. Great. "So, do you want the treatment?" Ursula asked, her back to him, her voice casual. The treatment? It's a kind of, oh God, gerontological therapy. An experimental procedure. Somewhat like inoculation, but with a DNA strengthener. Repairs broken strands and restores cell division accuracy, to a significant degree. John sighed. And what does that mean? Well, you know. Ordinary aging is caused mostly by cell division error. After a number of generations, ranging from hundreds to tens of thousands, depending on which of the cells that you're talking about, errors in reproduction start to increase, and everything gets weaker. The immune system is one of the first to weaken, and then other tissues, and then finally something goes wrong, or the immune system gets overwhelmed by a disease, and that's it. And you're saying you can stop these errors? Slow them down anyway, and fix the ones that are already broken. A mix, really. The division errors are caused by breaks in DNA strands. So we wanted to strengthen DNA strands. To do it, we would read your genome and then build an auto-repair genomic library of small segments that will replace the broken strands. Auto-repair? She sighed. All Americans think that is funny. Anyhow, we push this auto-repair library into the cells where they bind to the original DNA and keep them from breaking. They hadn't figured out telomeres yet, yeah. But, I mean, good enough. Auto repair. Going to the auto repair shop. All Americans think that is funny. Anyhow, we push this auto repair library into the cells where they bind to the original DNA and help keep them from breaking. She began to draw double and quadruple helixes as she talked, shifting inexorably into the biotech jargon, until John could only catch the general drift of the argument. Which apparently had its origins in the Genome Project and the field of genetic abnormality correction, with application methods taken from cancer therapy and GEM technique. Aspects of these and many other different technologies had been combined by the Acheron group, Ursula explained. And the result seemed to be that they could give him an infection of bits of his own genome. An infection which would invade every cell in his body, except for parts of his teeth and skin and bones and hair. Those seem like pretty important parts, but whatever. Pretty good. Except for parts of his teeth and skin and bones and hair. And afterwards, he would have nearly flawless DNA strands, repaired and reinforced strands that would make subsequent cell division more accurate. How accurate? He asked, trying to grasp what it all meant. Well, about like if you were 10 years old. You're kidding. No. We've all done it to ourselves back around LS10 of this year. And so far as we can tell, it's working.